Good morning, everybody. We had to come inside. It's raining out on my porch, so I hope you'll enjoy my lovely living room. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you. So glad you're here. I'm going to jump right into my talk this morning. Talk title Optimistic Expectations. What does that mean? I'm having a little angst over this talk this morning. I felt a little anxiety in me. I've had to really do a lot of praying and meditating this morning, and I always feel that because the talks are so important to me. But this morning I felt a little more of it, I think, and it might have been because this topic is so important to me, and I believe so important to all of you as well. And I was just now going inside to ask, what do I need to know about this? And I asked my heart, as per HeartMath, the scientific research organization HeartMath, that tells us how to do that. And I noticed the more that I do that, all I have to do is put my hand on my heart and say, heart, and it knows I'm going to ask, what do I need to know about this situation? Heart, and it said, have faith, believe. Divine Spirit is with you. So when I'm talking to you, I realized I'm talking to me as well. Optimistic expectations. Wow, such an important thing. Now, most of you, probably all of you, know that in an optimist, they have a pleasant outlook on life, and a pessimist has more of a darker outlook on life. Optimist has more sunshine in their soul consciousness. Pessimist has more shadow, you might say, in their soul consciousness. And this is per our Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore. And each of those are according to your particular enduring outlook on life, not just any given moment, but a pattern of your outlook on life. And where do you lean more of the time than not? We all have both of these, of course, but some of us tend to lean more toward the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. You've heard that one for sure. So, it's easy for us to argue about problems and have semantics about getting caught up in the words and to argue about what the problem is, argue over what's wrong. And when we fret about the difficulties, we need to change our thinking toward solutions and keep our vision high. Expect solutions. There's always an answer to every situation. There's always an answer. Do you believe there's always an answer to every problem, to everything that you might fret about and worry about? If we go to the problem and know and trust and believe, there's always an answer. And those answers are right here, as close as your next breath, as close as your hand, as close as your next thought. Right here inside your heart, right here inside your being, the divine essence aspect of you. You are a child of God, created by God, in the image and likeness of God, and as such, you have that divine essence aspect to you. So keeping our vision high, our expectations about what's to happen in our life, in our day, optimistic. Expect good things to happen this day. Expect good things to happen in this life, tomorrow, next year, always. Sure, we all have our battles with negative thoughts and emotions. Yeah, of course. That's the human part of us. That's when we get caught up in trying to figure it out in our mind, our brain. But some people, I notice, meet those negative thoughts and emotions and those challenges and those challenging situations with more determination. Have you noticed that? Those people tend to refuse to let negative thinking get them down, and they refuse to let negative thinking keep them down. Yeah, even though we might have a negative thought or emotion, a lot of us don't want it to rest in our hair. We don't want it to hang around. We don't want to dwell on it and focus on it forever, not stay there long. So when we free our minds of the shackles of limited thought, when we limit ourselves to our humanness, if we are to accomplish great things, the great things that are possible for you in your life, do you believe great things are possible for you? Believe great things are possible for you. We need to free our minds of those shackles of limiting ourselves to our human thinking. Expect greater things for yourself. Expect greater things for your life. Cease complaining about your present lot in life. Cease complaining about the fact that others may be holding you back. You can change it. Your life, you, with the help of your higher power, God, your divine essence, that divine presence, that divine energy, however you want to say it. No one but you can hold you back by your thinking and expecting. So are you getting what you want with the way you're thinking, acting, feeling right now in your life? Not just this moment and in general. Are you getting what you ultimately want? Are you feeling the joy and happiness that you so deserve as a child of God? You inherit that right. It's called grace. Are you getting what you really want? Stop right now. Ask yourself, does my situation seem hopeless? It is not. It is not hopeless. Believe me. Believe. Trust. There's always an answer. Ask yourself, what do I expect? What do I expect to give to life? What do I expect life to return to me? Vow to improve your life and know that you can and know that you will. Now is the time to begin. How do we do that? Let's explore together. So in psychology, there's something called positive psychology, and that's where they say, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? That's by a psychologist named Martin Seligman. And there's a pony joke that I'm sure you've all heard about the two twin kids, and one was an optimist and one was a pessimist. And their dad was really concerned about this, so he took them into a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist thinking, okay, what do I do for these two kids? So he took the pessimist into a room full of bright, shiny new toys. And the pessimist little boy immediately started sobbing and down to his knees. And the psychiatrist said, what's going on? Don't you want to play with the toys? And he said, I'll just break them. So the psychologist was baffled, and so he went back out and he brings in the optimistic little boy, and he brings him into a room full of horse manure. And the optimistic little boy starts digging into the pile. He jumps down to his knees, starts digging in the pile with a gleefulness about him with his hands. And the psychiatrist says, what are you doing? And he says, with all this horse manure, there's bound to be a pony in there somewhere. So just that joke just cracks me up because it so speaks to the difference in the personalities. Now, in early days, they used to think that it was personality. Some people just seem more prone to one over the other more of the time from the time they're little. And they just thought it was a function of not inheriting something, but because in families, people vary, but of your particular personality. But we've learned in the research that you can develop. You can learn to be an optimist And it's an important thing to do. Just like Viktor Frankl, when he wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that book was in the 60s, but people still talk about it all the time. Psychiatrist in the Nazi concentration camps who saw certain prisoners, who saw all the prisoners going through situations that most of us could not even imagine how awful it was. But he saw some who just shriveled up and died in the midst of it all. And others in the same situation who found some meaning, some purpose in something in life, even in the midst of it all. What was the difference? So he thought it was personality, but we're finding, like I say, it can be learned, and it's a worthwhile pursuit. And in psychology and in unity and the spirituality, we say that the way you do that is by challenging your negative self-talk. Replace the pessimistic thoughts with more positive ones. You can let go of a pessimistic or a negative thought, but you need to replace it with something positive, or else it's going to fill up with something else. So you challenge it, you let go of it, and then you replace it. So let's talk more about that. Our mind is a power, I don't mean to speak to the brain, but our mind is a powerful thing. It can do wonderful, marvelous things that a lot of you don't give your mind credit for. It is incredibly powerful. And in unity, we do this through denials and affirmations. We deny this one thought and affirm something more positive in its place. It's more than just positive thinking. It's much deeper than that. However, we don't necessarily deny that a situation is happening to us. You are not responsible for certain situations that come your way necessarily, but you are responsible for how you are in that situation. And so we don't necessarily deny that the situation's happening. We don't want to have rose-colored glasses and be in denial about the reality of things. But what we want to deny is the power that it has over us, the power that we've given to it. We let go of that and say, you have no power over me. And we replace it with something that's more positive. So let's go a little bit deeper into that. So you fill yourself with positive expectation. Expect only good for yourself, only good for your life. Eric Butterworth, he's a really famous unity minister from New York, wrote in his book Spiritual Economics. Now listen to this. He says, you do not receive necessarily. You do not receive what you want. You do not receive what you pray for necessarily. Not exactly what you might pray for. You do not even receive what you say you have faith in. You always receive what you actually expect. When I first read this, it was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of, I don't get it. But if I go on to say that each morning, even when clouds cover the sky, you expect that the sun will rise. You know it will. And it's the same thing. You actually expect, truly, genuinely expect only good to happen in this day, in the next day, next year, in you, in your life. Those negative thoughts, they're just like those little foxes in the Bible that destroyed the vineyard. It's in the Song of Solomon and various places throughout the Bible. So if such thoughts are not denied expression, if you don't deny their expression, they may grow in numbers. You let a thought in, and it leads to another one, and they just grow and cluster. And they spread. And the trick is getting it early, getting that first early thought before it has a chance to take root. So if you don't deny those thoughts, in the first get-go of it, they grow in numbers and destroy that portion of your crop, of the crop of good things that are growing into fruition into your life. You don't want to destroy that. God has planted fruitful vines in your vineyard, the vineyard of your soul. We must not let those little foxes of negative thought destroy them. Oh yeah, those foxes, those little baby foxes, those little foxes, they are so cute. But they can be very destructive. And then maybe not so cute. Spiritual good are those things growing in your consciousness. They should bring you much fruit. And some of these fruits in your vineyard would be peace and joy and success and satisfaction and happiness. Protect this crop. Protect and encourage this crop of good things by using good thoughts. Every thought you think adds something to the sum total of your consciousness. And your consciousness is built of thoughts and ideas and feelings that you've stored in it by daily thoughts and reactions for years. You've built it up. And if it's not getting you ultimately what you want, you can change it. That's the beauty. So being an optimist, though, is not enough to produce an abundant crop of good fruit. You have to train yourself for this, and this is not easy. But once you start, the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the more automatic it gets, and the more natural it is. Train yourself to look for the good in everything that happens to you. Train yourself to discover the good in everything that happens to you. Find a way to make use of this good. Bless it with your thoughts and your words and your actions. Do this with faith that God's omnipresent, always present, everywhere present, all the time present wisdom, God's wisdom and power are helping. Can't necessarily do it by ourselves. We ask for help from a higher power. Hey, we can always find or enjoy something good in every person if we look for it. So catch them doing something right. You know how with little kids you say catch them doing something wrong and punishing them? I say catch them doing something right and praise them. So in another person, an adult or a kid or whoever, in yourself, catch yourself doing something right. Look for that. Find joy in it and in other people too. And when you discover this good in yourself and in others, make the most of it. Even if you don't mention it. Just the fact that you did that in your own being, your own thoughts, glory will be added to your inner vineyard. But when you pick at faults in anyone who annoys you, oh gosh, a shadow flits across your being. A shadow flits across your consciousness. Ooh. Now, sometimes there are things wrong. And if something is wrong that you can fix, then give it the attention while you fix it. But to indulge the bad habit of looking for flaws and dwelling on them, focusing on them, when you can't remedy them, actually, listen to this, hurts you. You. Did I say that enough times? Hurts you more than anyone else. Thinking about mistakes, troubles, disappointments, slights, grudges, that opens the gate in your consciousness to the little foxes that destroy the fruit of your God-given vineyard. God's grace. It's easy to say. I get it, it's hard. It's easy to say, so-and-so snubbed me. I'm miserable. Criticize someone's behaviors. But those thoughts aren't helpful. Rise above negative thinking. Keep the little foxes from eating up our stored good thoughts. One bad habit that opens the way for the pack of little foxes to come into your vineyard is to count your troubles instead of your blessings. Your problem can't destroy your good, but your negative thinking about your problems will. Expect only good in your life. Release all fears and doubts. Trust Spirit, knowing the highest good is always being served in you, for you, even when you can't see it. Look for and expect positive outcomes. When you express the desires of your heart, maybe in something that you've taken into prayer, are your expectations limited, or do you expect only good? As you pray, if you discover negative thoughts, lack, or limitation, remember you are a living expression, a creation, an heir to all that God is. You inherit it. Release limiting thought gently, without judgment. Expect only good, and your good comes to you. Look forward to blessings that are coming your way. It's always exciting to look forward to something new. Recall past moments of expectation when a new birth, a new relationship, a new birth of a child, a new home. Each expectation was filled with energy and joy. Look forward to the blessings that are coming your way. Even though you might not have a clear sense of it, know they're coming your way. Grace. Grace is an expression of the love of God, always available, never needing to be earned. And as you recognize grace, feel the exhilaration, that comforting remembrance of the connection that you have with God. Feel that. You deserve the good, and feel that. And when you start feeling the lacking instead of the good, stop. Consider the many ways that you have been cared for, always. Remember those precarious situations that have ultimately worked out to your benefit. The things that you worried about were resolved in unexpected good ways. An idea or an opportunity may be delivered in surprisingly positive results. Grace is never far from you, but it can be undetected and unappreciated. Know that grace is yours. Receive it with gratitude. In God, you are always protected. With God, any situation you have, God is greater than any challenge. And that mighty work is happening in you in every moment. Know this. Release all fears and doubts. Commune with God through meditation, prayer, being in the silence. Blessings come in expected and unexpected ways. A phone call, a dream, a hunch. Your inner knowing might guide you exactly to what you need, exactly when you need it. Isaiah, verse 41, chapter 10. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you. I will help you. Have ceaseless faith. Believe. Release the need for a specific outcome and trust Spirit, knowing that the highest good is always being served, even when you can't see it. Expect only good in your life. Release fears, doubts. Trust Spirit. Look for and expect positive outcomes. Remember what Eric Butterworth said, you do not receive what you want. You think you want. You do not receive what you pray for. You do not even receive what you say you have faith in, but you always receive what you actually expect, what you genuinely expect, what you authentically, truthfully expect. You may say these fancy words, but do you really believe it? Trust and move forward with positive expectation. Wishing you blessings and a very great day. We'll break now because we have an important decision to make in our Unity community. We'll be starting a Zoom meeting in 5 minutes at 11 o'clock. And we'll be making a decision on what to do about our building. Our building has been sold, our rent is going up, and the board is discussing all the options, and we need the input of all of our members and all of our supporters. So please join us on the Zoom link. If you need the link, let me know, and I will send it to you. See you in a few. Have a great one.